Well, good morning. Throwing in a little 20-mile walk, running down to the next little farm town and back to the house. Check my knee. I pretty much blew out my right knee at Big Bend. Did it on the Pinnacles, so South Rim and Laguna Meadow was quite the painful trip back to the truck. But going on a thru hike, and I need to check my knee, so knocking out a 20. But anyway, I was just sitting here thinking, I was, contemplating myself, and I was just thinking, I forgot what I was thinking. Look at this crap, man. This is what country roads look like. Some nasty people who are too lazy and ain't got. I guess they don't have the funds to take stuff to the dump. I mean, I'd assume that'd be the case. Anyway. So yeah, I catch myself often saying phrases that are kind of an evangelical, maybe even Protestant saying or way to say things, or the way it's said is that the devil made me do it, or the devil's influence is the reason, or the devil's always at work and we have to be careful, and that's all well and good, and it's not untrue. I think the pitfall in that, though, is we tend to relieve our self-accountability in exchange for kind of an excuse, really. I hate saying that. So if every time we do something that would be contrary to what the Father expects of us, we can just say, well, I did wrong and I'm sorry, which I would imagine not everyone's heart posture is true sorrow. And then just go on about your day and really not give it any much thought. And I would assume this is how most of us react to such things. But there's a few of us who, whether the Spirit places it within us or we've become conscious of it just through repetition, through practice, you just go right back to your own vomit. Just like the Word teaches us, that an unrighteous man will return to his own vomit. And I'm paraphrasing. That's clearly not exactly what it says, but so we just do it again, and then we do this for years, going in and out of church, feeling like we're holy and righteous because we go to church on Sunday, which couldn't be further from the truth, actually. But we get complacent. We easily get complacent. Man, humans are so good at that. That's why we forget our history so quickly, and we just tend to repeat it because we forget. We get complacent. We get caught up in ourselves and what we want, what makes us feel good, what brings us pleasure. I need a selfie stick. And we forget about God once things are good, right? You mess up, oh, forgive me, Lord. And then you're good. You don't need God or His forgiveness until you screw up again. And how many times did you screw up before you screwed up big enough to be like, oh, I messed this up big time? So look at this. One of our waterways. Somebody just dumps their entire home of trash. But anyway, my body is numb. I'm numb from this. And yeah, so if I just keep blaming it on the devil, then I'm never going to take accountability for what I'm doing wrong. And if I don't continuously recognize my fault, my wrongdoing, and how far away from righteousness I truly am, then I create a habit. I create a habit that becomes a Christian in word and name only, because my actions do not reflect my heart posture. So anyway, folks, I'm just throwing this out there because, this is something we need to pay attention to, because it's so easy for us to fall into that trap of, well, it's the devil's fault. Lord, it's the devil again. And so, Lord, here I am doing it again. The devil's influencing me, sure, but he's not making the decisions for me. He's not making my choices for me. I made those choices, Lord, and I broke your trust, and I have moved against your love and mercy, and I truly am sorrowful, and I'm in need of your forgiveness. May I come back to your arms and be embraced by you, my loving Father. That's the heart posture we should have. So it should mean something to us to make mistakes. Mistakes being, anything outside of God's love and mercy. So if we don't love, if we catch ourselves not loving, then there we are. We're outside of God. And I'm speaking from complete guilt. I mean, lately, this past few weeks, I've been dropping some ugly words to myself. I've been speaking ill under my breath of myself or my actions or whatever's going on in front of me. I tend to have less aggravation with people, which is different for me. I've never really been a big fan of people, which I think a lot of us are like that. But that's not the way of the Christian. It's not the way of Jesus Christ. So I pray that he changes my heart to reflect his, and to love others and see them the way he sees them. And that has made a huge difference in my life. I do look at people differently now. I'm more impatient with myself than with other people, even though they really challenge my patience, especially those I work with who are just inconsiderate of others. But that's people, right? That's if you come at people knowing, well, people are inconsiderate and that's what I should expect, then when they are showing love and grace and mercy toward you, you're like, wow, this is awesome. I want to know this person better. Because you don't come across that very often. Niceties in passing is to be expected, especially in the South. That's how it's always been. It's how we've always been. The South is more tight-knit communities, whereas the North is where all the hustle and bustle is, and you have tight-knit neighborhoods and neighbors, because they're closer together. They're stacked on top of each other. Not out here. Out here in the South. Out here in the South, your neighbor will be there, and then your next neighbor will be there. That's close. That's close neighbors out in the country. Like these guys are right on top of each other. That's our broadcast interruption. Alright, 10 miles in. A pretty rough north wind the entire time. It's about 18 to 20 miles. I'm assuming it's around 45 degrees wind chill. Coming up on lunch. All right, so that's done. It was rough. About 14 miles in, my right knee was getting so bad all I could think about was the pain. I stopped more than I wanted to, just to try to give it a break, but starting back up was just twice as bad. And around, I'd say at 17 miles, my left knee had already started hurting bad enough that it was equally bad. So I was on the access road of the highway, which was my trip back, just basically half stepping because it was just so painful. So I called in a rescue,
So I only made it 17 miles before my knees gave out on me. And that's with a starting weight of 14 plus my clothes. But yeah, so clearly it's not just the weight and the terrain, it's just my knees are old and angry.
So anyway, I'm just rambling on at this point. Have a good day. See you next time. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff that everybody says that drives you nuts, and cut.